It's 2026. Did you pack your analog bag? Do you have a dumb puzzle and a adult coloring book and some stickers and a deck of cards? Even you only know how to play Go Fish. How much money did you spend filling that analog bag?
TikTok's analog bag is a trend that is trying to fix our brains to prevent us from doom scrolling. However, the way I found out about this trend is on social media, on TikTok, which for me, I find very ironic. This really started gaining traction in 2025 and continued strong going into 2026. Even in March, it's still a strong trend. And generally, the idea is create a bag filled with things that help you disconnect from your phone. So instead of automatically reaching for TikTok, Instagram, or whatever it is, you reach for this bag instead. And inside these bags, people are putting things like journals, books, coloring pages, little crafts, crossword puzzles, sometimes skincare, snacks, or a deck of cards. It's basically like a hobby bag. Every hobby you have, you put it in this bag and you take it with you if you go places, or you have it next to your spot at home, having it readily available. So instead of reaching for your phone, scrolling TikTok, YouTube, shorts, or reels, you grab the bag, you grab something from in there, and you're doing something a little bit more productive, a little bit more creative, gives you something to do instead of just defaulting to scrolling when you're bored. And when I saw it, I was like, this is a great idea. This is very innovative. I mean, I guess not innovative. People have been doing this forever, but this is like something that I could get on board with because we all know scrolling's gotten out of control. I'm always for helping people stay off of social media. Honestly, when I'm not filming, I'm really not on social media that much. I have been leaning more towards Instagram Reels lately. I just find the content over there is just so much more wholesome. But before I know it, if I'm on Instagram Reels, I'm losing a lot of time. I just get sucked right in. And when I do that, I just don't feel good after. So this trend was like refreshing. This is great. People want to be off their phones. People want to be more productive. But the more I watch these videos, the more I realize that overconsumption can definitely happen even within this trend. And even though it's meant to stop doom scrolling, it doesn't take away from our time on social media because people are still posting these bags. It's a trend, so people want to post about the trend. And now we're seeing content like my monthly analog bag, and it's a completely different bag filled with different things. And although this trend might be helpful for some, getting them started on the right path of spending less time on their phone, it's also a little ironic and a little complicated, and in some ways a reflection of how deep this issue actually goes. But before we get any further into the video, let's talk about today's sponsor, Grow Therapy. I feel like this time of year, everyone's always looking to get their life together a little bit. There's the fresh air, the days are longer, people are doing deep spring cleans, reorganizing their spaces, opening the windows, letting the fresh air come in. This season, let therapy also be part of your spring cleaning, clearing mental clutter, shaking off stuckness, and building something better. Grow Therapy helps you get there. What I really like about Grow Therapy is that it makes finding a therapist way less overwhelming. Whether it's your first time in therapy or your 50th, they help you find someone who actually fits you, not the other way around. They connect you with thousands of licensed therapists around the US, and you can do sessions virtually or in person, even at night or on the weekends. You can filter by things that actually matter to you, like specialty, insurance plans, identity, availability, and you can even get started in as little as 2 days. And if something comes up, you can cancel up to 24 hours in advance at no cost to you, which is huge. Speaking of cost, there's also no subscriptions or long-term commitments. You just pay per session, which makes it feel a lot more flexible and realistic. Grow accepts over 100 insurance plans, and sessions average around $21 with insurance. Some people even pay as little as $0 depending on their plan. Whatever challenges you're facing, Grow Therapy is here to help. Visit growtherapy.com/Susannah to get started. Again, that's growtherapy.com/Susannah. Thank you so much to Grow Therapy for sponsoring today's video. The biggest piece of irony for me watching this is the fact that people discover this trend by scrolling. It very much fits into like the cozy hobby niche, and I'm all for hobbies. I'm a huge reader. I'm also a huge gamer, and so I totally get like the appeal to having your hobbies readily available to you all in one place. But you're on TikTok, you're on Reels, you're watching video after video, and then suddenly you come across someone who is showing you their analog bag. Everything is very curated, everything's pretty aesthetic, and the message is essentially put your phone down, and you're thinking to yourself, yeah, I probably should. But then you keep watching, and the more you keep watching this content, the more analog bags keep showing up on your For You page because obviously the algorithm is going to show you what you're interested in. And I've seen so many analog bags now. And I don't say this to be negative, but now instead of just scrolling randomly, we're seeing these analog bag videos. We're saving them. We're sharing them. We're putting things in our Amazon carts, but you're still on the app. You're still on your phone. And it almost feels like we've created a loop where even the solutions to our habits exist within the habits themselves. There's also a very big reason why this trend even exists, and it's simply because people are overstimulated. Trends like this don't just happen out of nowhere. This is a response to how overstimulated we've all become, to how normalized it is to constantly be consuming something, whether it's videos, podcasts, music, notifications. There's always something filling the silence. A lot of people are starting to feel the long-term effects of that. Shorter attention spans, difficulty focusing, feeling restless when things are quiet, when they can't have their phone in front of them. They feel uneasy. They feel fidgety. Their legs start shaking. I know I can be like that for one when I don't have some sort of entertainment in front of me. Reaching for your phone when you don't really have a reason to go on and you don't actually realize that you're reaching for it or going on it. We've almost lost the ability to just sit with ourselves, to enjoy just the silence, to enjoy nature, to just sit outside and like not have something in front of us, not have some sort of screen in front of us. We've lost that ability, and that's very scary to think about, actually. Why do we need our brain to be stimulated constantly in a way that does us more damage than good? So this idea of having this bag available to you, filled with things that, make your brain slow down a little bit, perhaps, it gives people a way to interrupt that pattern, to actually make your brain slow down, to choose to do something for a longer period of time that doesn't necessarily give you that instant dopamine. It creates an opportunity for you to choose to do something else, and that's really powerful. And I think that's a lot of the reason why this trend took off in 2025 and became even more popular in 2026 when people were doing their New Year's resolutions. I think the term is like the whimsical analog life. There is a creator who is largely credited for creating this trend in 2025, and her name is Cease Campbell. And looking at her content, I was like, okay, she's promoting this whimsical life. She's trying to get people off their phones. Her whole approach seems very grounded and very intentional, and she wants people to just lean into that analog lifestyle. And as much as I think that she had a good intention behind this video at the start, after watching a few of her analog bag videos, like she's very much also promoting overconsumption in a way. She does monthly analog bag videos, so she's constantly changing out what's in her bag. She's changing the bag that the stuff is in. It's almost creating like a cycle, and she's showing people things that they can buy to put in this analog bag. And there's nothing wrong with, inspiring other people to do this, but it's just like the little details that matter to me. Like if you see that, oh, you're inspired to change the bag that your stuff is in as well every month. Oh, let's put something new in my bag every month. You're buying things to put in this bag itself. And I think that's where we cross over to a not really dangerous line, but more of like the negative effects of this trend line, because we're constantly looking for new things to put in our bags. And there is a way where you're constantly looking for, oh, the new trend, or you see someone who has a nicer bag than you and you're like, oh, I want that bag. That looks fun. I'm going to put that in my bag too, even though it's not necessarily something that you would really want to partake in. Overall, though, her message and the research that she did that went behind her creating this analog bag is very good. Underneath all the other stuff and the possibility for overconsumption within this trend, what she's promoting is top notch. Like, we need to have more people who want to do this in their everyday lives, who want to spend less time on their phone. And I think that she's inspired a lot of people to do that. What she presented felt like a tool to help us become more intentional with ourselves and with our time. But as the trend spread, it also evolved, and a lot more people are doing it. A lot more people are doing analog bag refreshes every month. There's aesthetics and there's structures and there's what's in my bag videos. There's products being sold to you. And before you know it, something that started as a groundbreaking idea slowly transformed into the very thing that we're trying to escape from.
This is an analog bag. My invention that went viral last year for helping people stop doom scrolling. Studies show that in order to actually change a habit, you have to replace the habit instead of just quitting it cold turkey. Up analog hobbies and make them as accessible as your phone. I change this around so often, so I'm going to do a monthly update on what's working in my analog bag. Starting with my subscription to the New Yorker, this has been the biggest update for me. Instead of scrolling on my phone to stay updated, having a weekly news source that I can thumb through, be inspired by, stay informed through, has made such a difference for me. Also love all the puzzles in it. Next is my sketchbook and pencils. I'm doing a 100-day art project to keep the whimsy alive through the winter. This for years, starting in 2018. Every day for 100 days, I have to draw or create the same thing. This year, I'm doing a house. It's helpful when you don't feel like doing something analog to have something you're obligated to do that's really easy. So every day I just do any kind of little house house drawing that I feel like sometimes I paint it. One year I did hands, one year I did flowers, one year I did oranges. It is so fun, highly recommend. My planner and my journal replaced my notes app for me, as well as like my calendar app. My favorite pens are from Sugar Paper LA, and they give me such a dopamine hit. More likely to want to write in my notebook or my planner. Polaroid camera allows me to leave my phone at home because I can still capture select thought through memories without bringing my phone under the guise of, oh, I just want to document these moments. My friend made me an excerpt book of all her favorite passages from her reads this year. This is in my analog bag to remind me to do the same for my friends next year. Even after a week, that's made reading so much more motivating for me because I kind of feel like I'm on a treasure hunt. And lastly is my knitting project. This is my favorite way to occupy my hand. And my baby sweater's almost done.
So the key thing I want to point out here is that she says she changes it around so often. So you can see how after watching this video, like it can get costly. You're constantly having to buy new journals and new planners or new things to put in your analog bag. And then there's the waste on top of that, like, you know, the New Yorker, once she's read that through, what happens there? It gets recycled, obviously. Or the journals, once they get filled, like where are you going to put all this stuff? And so there's different aspects to think about when you're trying to jump on a trend. Like, do you have space to store all the things that you will accumulate with doing this analog bag trend? Will you actually use the stuff you're going to purchase? Is this something that you're actually interested in doing or just interested because you see someone else doing it? I really recommend trying new things if that's what you want to do. But if you're going to do that, just make sure it's more cost affordable to you. Just be smart about it, is what I'm trying to say. Like, don't spend so much money on a hobby that you might not even enjoy. But as I said, the main thing I wanted to point out in this video is the fact that she said, like, I change this around so often. And I think it's very easy for us as humans, you know, when we love something, we want more of it. When we have, let's say, you know, I started this analog bag trend. I want to update my bag every few months to be inspired by the weather or be inspired by the season or be inspired by whatever I'm loving at that moment. We all fall prey to overconsumption when we are in love with whatever we're doing. That's why you see so many readers who love physical books, for example, buy so many books all the time, even though they necessarily can't afford it. Or people who read exclusively on Kindles, buying Kindle inserts or Kindle chains or charms. I fell prey to some of those things. If you're interested in watching the things that I fell for and actually end up loving, let me know, because I've been thinking about doing that video for a while. All in all, we're very prone to falling into overconsumption, even if our intention is not to.
This is an analog bag. This is my invention that went viral last year for helping people stop doom scrolling, because in order to change a habit, you have to replace it. So instead of grabbing for your phone, you have lots of other things your hands can grab for instead. And here's everything that's working for February. Number one and most important is my scrapbooking kit. I'm making all my friends Valentines for Valentine's Day, because whenever I get stuff like stickers at a surf shop or postcards from a friend, I want to be able to reuse them. Fabric scraps, biodegradable glitter, pens, scissors, and a glue stick.
She didn't have that in January's analog bag. Not that I saw anyway. And also the camera that she posted in here looks different as well. I don't know if it's the same, but it does look different to me.
2 books, my Mary Oliver devotions. Any Mary Oliver book is gonna be very like fun, analog, whimsy heavy, make you really connect with nature. Also reading Annie Dillard's Pilgrim at Tinker Creek. It just helps refocus your life on the magic that's already around you. 2 camera options, my Instamax Mini.
You see what I mean? 2 camera options. You don't need 2 camera options. Just get one.
And my Camp Snap. This just operates like a disposable camera, except for it's technically a digital camera. If there's one thing I can recommend you focus on this month, it is leaving your phone at home. There are other camera alternatives, and taking some time where your phone isn't just like an extra limb really helps open your mind to the world around you. Watercolor set, because we're still doing our 100-day art project. You paint, draw, create the same object every day. I'm doing houses. Modeling clay. This has been a huge one. A lot of the times we just want something to do with our hands, which is why we're grabbing for our phone. Weirdly,
modeling clay is new as well.
this has significantly reduced my screen time. My planner continues to be my #1 analog activity. Having somewhere where the ideas can go that's not my phone for a calendar or a notes app or whatever. And then my bouquet bag. In the spring, my kids and I go on a wildflower walk every day. Cinch it up and you can carry it like a tote. Enhancing analog experiences that you're already doing is such a good way to build momentum to stay off your phone.
Hey, and then we have March. So let's see if there's anything new in March.
This is an analog bag. My invention that went viral last
Again, a new sort of camera device. I can see that right off the hop. So as you can see, like there is new things happening every single month in this analog bag. There's new camera options, there's new hobbies, there's just new stuff that she's promoting. And she does have a ton of links in her link in bio. So I do think, like, even though it has good intentions, I do think there is an aspect where this is just selling to you in a way that, you know, doesn't seem as harmful because it's promoting a healthy habit. But it's so easy when you see this video and you see the creator of this trend switching things out every single month. It's very easy to get into the thinking that, oh, she's replacing things in her analog bag every month. Oh, she has this. I'm going to put this in my Amazon cart and put this in my bag. There's a better way to go about this, especially if you want to try this out. And it doesn't have to be as intense as this. If you're a reader and you have an e-reader, just put it in your purse. I grab my Kindle more than I grab my phone when I'm out or I have a free moment, and I read my book instead of being on my phone. If you want to do the journals, you can put that in your purse. It doesn't have to be so extreme. You don't have to have all of these hobbies on you all in one go. Yes, it seems like a great idea. The reason why this trend took off so much, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but people have been leaning more into the slow living aesthetic or the slow living lifestyle more in the last 2 years than I've seen ever. People want to disconnect from the hustle and bustle of everyday life. And so when they see something online that helps them become a more productive, maybe more creative or better version of themselves, they're going to hop on that train without a second thought. And that's great. Like, that's what we should be doing. I don't think we should be on our phones as much. I don't think it's healthy for us to have access to so much information at one given time. It really affects people's mental health. And so that's why people are leaning more into slow living. Don't get me wrong. I think that's great. And I think the idea of the analog bag is great. But when something that is supposed to be about taking you off of social media becomes so curated and becomes a trend, that's where things start to get a little skewed, and the whole purpose of the trend itself gets almost rebranded to be another social media trend, and that's it. And we see that with all the videos that have come out about these analog bags now.
At the beginning of the year, I put together an analog bag, and I'm going to show you what's inside. As a crafty girl from way back, the idea of an analog bag is just like, I'm always seeing new crafts I want to try, and then getting all of the supplies, and then getting bored of it after a few days, and then it lives in my garage and I never look at them again. So the idea of having a bag that just has little bits and pieces of heaps of different things to stop me scrolling on my phone, I love that.
When she says she gets into a craft or a hobby, buys all the stuff for it, gets bored of it, and then doesn't touch it ever again, why will putting it in a bag change that habit, change that cycle? I think it will just get lost in the bag, if I'm being completely honest. I don't think if you already have that cycle where you try something new, you buy all the stuff, and then you just forget about it, what makes an analog bag any different?
This is my analog bag. My friend Cease came up with this concept to replace grabbing for your phone with grabbing for more analog activities, and I love the concept. This is the Land's End canvas tote. I got it with the zipper top and the extra long handle. My husband started saying phones off, friends on a few years ago, and it's become an inside joke with my whole family, so had to get phones off. Embroidered on the bag felt very fitting. On the inside, we've got quite a few options. First, and possibly the most random, is this wool felting kit. I watched exactly one TikTok video and decided that I could teach myself how to wool felt. Next, we have my watercolor kit. I actually have my watercolor kit and my son's. He's almost 4. Watercolor book, cutie little watercolor set. This expands into a water cup. I have a brush that holds water in it. This is what I got for him. If you have a toddler, this is a good one to teach them. It's great for number recognition, color recognition, and just honestly learning how to play games. And in our family, loose, because we have no mercy on toddlers. I have this newspaper from the La Post, different puzzles in here, and there's also just a lot of beautiful articles, so I've been loving these. So I bought this puzzle book for my stepdad and my stepmom this Christmas, and I want to get one for myself because it's so fun.
So as you can see, the concept seems very intentional, very whimsical, and promotes a healthier habit of being off your phone. However, I think the healthier habit is being replaced with something else, and that's a purchasing habit. What can I put in my analog bag this month? What new things can I try out and buy? And if I'm being completely honest, I think that even though people think that this trend will work, I don't know if it really will. I think a lot of the things that people buy will probably go unused. And that's not saying like these specific creators that I'm showing you today are doing that. I'm just thinking like someone else was to try that. I don't know if it would necessarily replace the habit. I think the habit itself is buying new things rather than actually using the new things they bought.
Here's everything that's in my analog bag. I'm leaving for a little road trip tomorrow, so I wanted to give you guys an updated analog bag tour.
The updated analog bag tour. It's like a what's in my purse tour. It's becoming a trend. People are creating videos where they're becoming more of a trend than anything else. Are they actually using what's in their bags? Or is it just content for people? I don't know.
Watercolor set. This is from Emily Lex, and so is this little watercolor workbook. I love it because it actually teaches you how to do it.
You can see a lot of the trends here. They all have some sort of watercolor aspect to it. Like, I don't think everyone who's trying this trend is into watercoloring. I think it's just people see other people buying watercoloring sets, so then they also think that they need to buy a watercoloring set.
And you kind of just follow along. So I also have this bird one. This one's actually from Amazon, so I'll have it linked.
Yep. That checks out. That checks out.
But I'm loving this. I feel like watercolor can be a little bit overwhelming, so having a step-by-step is really fun, and they don't take long. So it's a really simple project to pull out and do in like half an hour, and they're fun also to do with other people. In this little pouch is my watercolors and my paintbrushes. Next is my needlepoint. This is what I'm currently loving to do while I watch a show or something like that. I'm gonna see if I can actually do it in the car while I'm writing as well. This just has all my needles and thread and floss and everything like that. Always have these two in there as well. Next is my big stack of books. Starting off, we have
The Four Winds is actually on my TBR cart right now. Yep. I love Kirsten Hanna's books. The Nightingale had me sobbing, so I recommend checking that out. But The Four Winds, if you've read it, let me know how you like it. I was going to go for it, and then my podcast group, we chose a book club book. I didn't realize how close we were to April, so I had to put it away.
Magnolia magazine. We're actually going to Magnolia, so was sure to put this in there so I could look through it on the drive. But just a little spring magazine. I think it's so fun to look through. This book is just
magazines are almost nostalgic too. Like when we were teenagers, I know for millennials, I don't know about Gen Z maybe, but when we were teenagers, like when High School Musical was big, I remember getting all of these little magazines and seeing Zach and Vanessa on the cover and reading through them. And I think people are gravitating towards the magazines because they are so nostalgic and because they take you back to a simpler time, if you want to say that. So people are gravitating towards magazines now. It's almost like taking them back a decade or so.
Combination of the Wordle, Connections, mini crossword, and crossword from the New York.
That puzzle book is what Cease's friend said that she wanted to get. So you see how this is like a trend? I don't know if this is like just a coincidence or if this is just, you know, people following other people. I don't know.
Times in a book form, and so I think it's so fun. I will say I maybe wish I would have gotten a more beginner version because these are challenging to do by myself, but it makes a good activity to do with other people. This is the book that I'm currently reading. I can't get enough of Kristen Hanna, and so this one is really good. It's about the Dust Bowl, but I'm loving it. And then lastly, this is a new edition. This is Myrtle. It's like a murder mystery puzzle solving book. I'm bringing it because I think it'll be fun to work on with a group as well. These are just a couple of easy games that I throw in, just a deck of cards and Farkle. Not get crazy at all, but I think having a game that you can play with other people when everyone just wants to be on their phone is really fun. This is my analog bag tour. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope this inspires you to get off your phone.
Yeah, it inspires you to get off your phone, but then, you're back on your phone making content about these analog bags. That's where I find it ironic, because you're still on social media when the whole purpose of this trend is to get you off social media. No hate to this girl, by the way. She seems really sweet. It's just like thinking about the concept of the trend and how it's turned into, and like looking at the deeper issues behind it. It's like more about the trend itself than actually living like a whimsical analog life.
So 2026 is supposed to be the year of all things analog, so I wanted to show you my analog bag.
2026 is supposed to be the year of all things analog. What's next year gonna be? What's next year's trend gonna be? I can't wait to find out.
Analog is supposed to stop us from the doom scrolling and start being more creative. So the things in here are things that I would love to start implementing.
We're not even going to watch the video because you can automatically assume like what's going to be in it, but we're going to read the comments, okay? Top comment, 285 likes. Yes, I have one and love it. However, I end up spending too much time scrolling about analog bags. The creator replies, girl, this is too real. Same. Case in point, people. Case in point. This is so sad. Someone else replied, this is me. I'm scrolling to look what to add to my analog bags. Thus why I'm here. I'll stay up until midnight adding Hobonichini planners, stickers, PR Journal's watercolor paper to my carts. I literally just said this out loud that all they do is doom scroll about analog bags. So it's not about replacing the habit, it's just replacing what you're doom scrolling, what's showing up on your For You page. Someone else, so now I need supplies and a brand new bag just for my analog bag. This escalated quickly. I mean, I do have some supplies at home, but every new idea obviously requires new supplies. And of course it needs its own dedicated bag, so BRB while I run out real quick. This is a perfect example of how the analog bag trend just completely loses its original meaning and turns more about into doom scrolling, adding things to your carts, overconsumption, making content. It's not about getting off your phone. It's just about changing what you're on your phone for. If you're doing this trend and you're actually doing and living by what you set out to do when you bought all this stuff, your intention was to stay off your phone, was to stop doom scrolling, was to live a more whimsical analog life, that's great. I'm so happy for you. Like, that's exactly what this trend was created for. At least I think so. If you're actually using an analog bag as a tool, something that helps you build better habits, then it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. But when it becomes something you feel like you have to keep up with, or constantly improve, or make aesthetic, or replace your bag, or replace the items in the bag, it shifts, because then it's no longer about disconnecting. It's about participating in something. And those are two very different things. With every trend that gains traction, there's always going to be a level of monetization behind it. People linking everything that they show in these videos in their Amazon storefront, brands reaching out and partnering with them, recommending products, building content around it, building an entire career around the analog bags. And that's just how the internet works. But when the whole purpose of this trend is to disconnect from social media, and in fact people are just connecting more if anything, but it does add an interesting layer where even the act of trying to disconnect, the intent of trying to disconnect, becomes something that can be profited off of, packaged, shared, and overall just another means of overconsumption and waste. Again, if you're living the analog bag life and you just do this and you're not doing it because it's a trend, then that's great. This whole concept is not a bad idea, so don't get me wrong. It's when people twist it and actually, instead of doing what they set out to do, they do the opposite of that. That's where it frustrates me, because you don't need to have all this stuff to disconnect from your phone. It's actually quite simple to do that. All you need is one thing to replace that habit. For some people, this might genuinely help them live a slower, more intentional life, while for others, it's just something else to curate and post about. The bag itself is not really the point, it's what you're using it for. Are you actually stepping away? Or is this just giving you another excuse to spend money, to lean into the aesthetic trends, to connect more instead of disconnect? Are you just recreating the same patterns that you're trying to escape from? Because at the end of the day, realistically, the goal is not to have the perfect analog bag, it's to not feel like you need it so much. That's it for today's video, guys. Let me know what you think of the analog bag trend. If you've partaken, let me know what your thoughts are about it. Be honest. Do you actually use everything that's in there? Do you replace the things every month? Have you fallen into the more curated aesthetic? Do you prefer like a more simple approach, like bringing just one item with you when you're out? Let me know what you think, good or bad. No wrong opinions here. I welcome all. God bless you all. And until next time.
Welcome to Plot Twist Please, where we sip, flip, and spill the tea on books and booze.
I'm Beth.
I'm Susannah.
And I'm Cass, your trio of book besties, bringing the drama, the hot takes, and a drink in hand every episode.
Whether it's fantasy, romance, or total chaos, if there's a wild plot twist, we're talking about it.
We'll laugh, we'll rant, and we'll probably spiral into a tangent about morally gray characters.
Grab your favorite drink, enchanted or otherwise, and come hang out with us every week.
Because let's be honest, sometimes the best part of a book is spilling the tea about it. Plot Twist Please, streaming now wherever you can get your podcasts.